after you, John.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm John Rutter. I've been a member for nearly 40 years. I am an engineer, retired now for quite some time, and I'm afraid I'm not in particularly good health. So these days I'm not humping stuff around for the railway line, doing things like I used to do. So what I do is look after the archive of photographs and things, and try and provide photographs of whatever anybody wants, if I've got them. Your turn.
Right, yeah. Well, I'm John Mason, usually called Chicken. And
there's a story behind that.
Yeah. Yeah, there is actually. When we started doing Carrog, the bottom of the signal box, it had been stripped down to platform level, but the bottom, the local farmer had stuck a old wooden hut on top, and he had chickens. And at that time, I was coming down to the railway at weekends, and every time I went, I chucked these chickens out, and every time I come back the next week they were in, and that's how I got the name as Chicken. I started off like John in engineering, but then probably 45 years ago I slipped up and I did my back. I can't remember what they call it, but I had an operation on my back, and I reverted to building. It took me 2 or 3 years to come round, did a paper round, and then I started building, and that's how I got into coming to the railway, and I've been doing that ever since.
You've been building stuff ever since?
Yeah. It's what I enjoy doing. I've had a great life on the railway, absolutely fantastic, and I've met some great chaps, and I could just go down to the cafe first thing on a Saturday morning or something, and I could get a gang of blokes to do something that wanted doing. And then sooner or later, people who was on the railway said, well, go and get Chicken to do that. He'll get a... And most of those chaps, when we started, it went to Carrog, and we started to go up there to Carrog and do that. And I remember sitting on the track when we finished at Carrog, and Dobbo was there. There were me, Dobbo, Jumpy, and I can't remember the other chap. And Dobbo says, we're going to go down to Pentrafelling, because Dobbo was a very good chap, and he was a motivator like me.
Well,
and
he was a fireman.
Yeah,
well,
and
he started out as a plumber.
He did.
And he became a fireman, and he ran his gangs like a fire brigade.
Yeah, he did.
At the double.
Yeah.
I have never actually thrown rail over at that speed.
Yeah, you would do it. He were good though, weren't he? And he was well respected.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he was well respected, and he used to drive a big lorry. And that lorry, some of the jobs that lorry did for the railway, he used to use peak. He run out of hours, and it was mostly the weekend. And he used to have Pete Cutler's old boy, who got every vehicle pass, and he used to drive it. And some of the stuff that come in, he did all the transport for Carrog. He fetched all the station building, what we stripped down at Western Sub-Edge, and the signal box from Orton. That lorry came and fetched stuff back, and Dobbo never charged the railway.
No, he didn't.
I do, because he took a joke and all, because I know we were out doing something, and there were about 10 of us, and we'd been to get some wood from somewhere, and we saw, I can't remember where Dobbo lives, but Ellesmere Port, yeah, and we were coming past there, and Dobbo used to be invite anyone.
He did, didn't he?
His house was an open house to anyone on the railway, and Batman says, Well, we'd go to Dobbo's for a drink of coffee, you see. We went to Dobbo's and nobody were in. The house were unlocked, and so we all went in, and we just had a cup of coffee, we stood in the kitchen and that, and somebody says, "Where's Batman?" And he come back in, Batman. Now, you probably remember, Robbo in his front room, it was just, the whole wall was just a mass of pictures, railway pictures.
It was. Yeah.
Weren't it? There must have been 200 on that wall. And Batman had went in and he religiously turned every picture upside down and hung them back. Well, I mean, we were laughing all the way back to that. And you know, Dobbo, I should have been mad, but not Dobbo. He were mad, and he says, "I know who's done it, so I'm not going to have a go at you lot." But I mean, that used to go off, and you don't get that now, do you? Which is a shame.
Yeah, well, it used to be, one of the things that it used to be down there, used to be like a family.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a sort of family atmosphere. Yeah. You could be rude to anybody and nobody minded.
That's right, John. Yeah. Yeah, and there were one or two rude people about, weren't there?
Yeah. I remember the first day that I came down, there was a lad, a couple of friends of ours over in Harden. Their lad was, I think he was 14 going on 15, and he was railway mad. And he said to me, "What about going down to Llangollen?" And we'd moved over here, and all my social life was over in Runcorn.
Yeah.
And I was looking for something new. So I thought, yeah, why not, you see. So we went down and we went into the goods shed as it was then.
Go on,
and we said to the gang that were in there, we knew volunteers.
There we go. Okay. So, guys, what was the first job that you ever did at the railway, and how did you get your start? Who brought you in?
Well, first time I come, I did the driving, as I've said, and then I was invited by the compere, Dougie Wentle, who said, "The railway needs people like you. I'm having a party next week," and I came down and I was locked in ever since. And I went to his party the following week, and he introduced me to Pete Cutler. And Pete Cutler's done a lot for the railway, but he can also be an awkward bugger, never with me. But he said, "Oh, well, we put in the building, which is your office, and we're going to do something about the windows, because the windows were all rotten, so we were putting a false framing. And we wanted some 6-inch nails, because it's the only way we could do it. We went across to the office, which was the carriage in the bay platform, and that was the office, and they told Cutler, "No, you can't, no money." So Cutler saw his arse and said, "That's it, we're not working anymore, they don't want it doing." So we walked out and we went to ride on train. We came back and he says, "What, are you in next week?" I says, "Well, is there out to do?" He says, "Yeah, we've got jobs to do on goods box." And we went up and spent the next few weeks doing all the platform at the back, the platform along the back of the signal box, and doing a lot of work there. One thing I do remember, Cutler said, "Oh, we'll knock off for a drink," and he kept coming with a drink. And I said, "Bloody hell, I didn't see you bring any water." He says, "Oh no, I get out the D." Well, he was mashing this tea, and I said to my missus, and this was Sunday, and I said, "I don't feel very well." Well, I went home, and I was sat on the bog for all week. I never went to work, I couldn't work. I threatened to kill Cutler if he gave me another, and my missus always calls it DT. But that were normal for the railway, weren't it? That were happening all the time, weren't it?
I suppose the logic was, well, the engines are drinking it, so.
Yeah. But you did all right, didn't you, when you started? It went all right
Well,
for you.
yeah, we went into the engine shed, and we said we knew we want to volunteer. Have you got any jobs? And they're all sitting around drinking tea, and they said, "Yeah, go and take that engine to bits." And this was Darfield,
Oh,
and we were stripping Darfield down. It was the first one we'd done in the shed. In total, we did the boiler, we did everything, and I ended up on the forklift truck because in those days they hadn't got a full concrete floor in it, and there are rails across the back of the double doors, and the concrete stopped short. So they lifted the chassis up so we could roll with the wheel sets out, and they went clonk, and it was ballast. And they dug it, and I think they were the 8 tons each.
well,
They just dug themselves into the ballast. There was no way you could shift them. So I just got the forklift truck because I got a forklift truck license at the time, and I pushed him. Pushed him out through the door.
Yeah.
That was my first
Yeah.
job. And since then, apart from the last couple of few years, never really been away.
Do you know, it's just reminded me of one thing, because I can't remember the names, you probably know them, but they used to come from Runcorn Way or something like that, and they were 2 chaps, and they come every Sunday, and they took over the workshop, the machine room, and they took it over. One of them were a right sour-faced, and I didn't like him at all, and I didn't get on with him. The other one were brilliant, and if I ever wanted, because I mean I could work all them machines in there, no problem, but I were always busy doing everything else. And if he were in, the one I got on with, I'd say, "Can you make me so and so?" And they only came in on Sunday, and they were well known. And Dave Owen didn't like it because they came in on a Sunday. Well, you'd very rarely see Dave Owen unless he were driving on a Sunday. And if I wanted anything making, I just went in and asked them, and they got on with it and did it. And he were a very good engineer, the Surly one. And you're supposed to have known him. I can't remember the name.
I can't remember the names.
No.
But was the one who was a bit miserable?
Yeah.
Was he a fella called Johnny Golding?
No. That don't ring a bell, that.
No, because
Don't ring a bell.
Johnny-
He was a very good engineer.
oh well,
He
Johnny
was
Golding.
just a sour-faced bugger.
Johnny Golding was the fitter turner.
Yeah,
Well, turning.
yeah. They only came in
He
on a
was he
Sunday.
was the trainer.
Oh,
the
right.
ICI training apprentice training school.
Well, it might have sounded like that, yeah.
And he would make his own steam locos from scratch.
Yeah, yeah.
He could make anything, that fella.
It might have been him then. It probably was.
don't
That
actually remember.
that rings a bell with him.
I mean, I knew him quite well, but I don't remember meeting him at the railway.
No, well, they only came on a Sunday. They didn't come in the week at all. They just
Well,
came
it's
on a
possible.
Sunday.
I mean, I was always up the line on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I was on the track gang,
Oh,
so I didn't get a lot. Yeah, in '88, I was on around the locos. I was doing odds and sods all over
Yeah,
the place,
yeah.
like a bit like you.
well, everyone starts
Yeah,
off
we-
doing
yeah.
like that, isn't
And
it?
I think it was the beginning of '89. There was a sort of talk in the shed while we're having a cup of tea. Oh, they were going to start track laying through the tunnel to D-side. And I said to Alan, the young lad, who he and I were coming together, the one that he's the son of a friend of ours in Harden. I said to Alan, "Are you okay if I drop you off here and I go and get on the track gang. And he said, oh, he says, I'm fine. And he really looked after him, except at the time, Dave Pickett was the smallest one in the gang.
Yeah, I remember him, yeah.
Well, when we fetched Alan at 14, he was even smaller than Dave Pickett. So he ended up, went inside the saddle tank of Darfield to scrape the rust out.
Dear. Oh dear.
I don't know what his mum would have said if he ever told her what he was doing.
Well, that was before me.
Oh,
it was before me. I would think it would be around about 1990 or something like that when
1988 we joined.
Yeah, I never had anything to do with it. Well, I did have something to do with the tunnel because I got banned because we had to do clearing the line, and it was through the tunnel, you know, on Tanner's Leap, where they drove the tractor in.
Oh no!
It was lucky, just drove straight off the track bed. And
were you there?
No, I weren't. It had happened before I came.
I was there on the weekend, but I wasn't actually there.
Yeah. Well, they'd been through the tunnel, and they were working, and we had a working weekend because D-side were all overgrown, and it was overgrown. You could hardly see the track, and they were driving trains through. So we decided we'd have a working, and we had everyone on the railway, and it was what a weekend. We used to have the mess coach, and there was about 6 women. Used to do all the meals. You had a full dinner in relays, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
And they take the mess coach up. We had a weekend, and they must have, I know, I'm pretty certain I wrote it down in my computer. I think there was 50 people there on Saturday, and there were 40 people there on Sunday, and we went from the tunnel mouth right up to where the signal box, probably not as far as the signal box, but right up to there. And I can remember we cleared the lot. Dave Owen were on the crane, and he got that crane, and we were chopping trees down like mad. They go ape shit now, but we were chopping trees, and he were hooking them up and leaving them on bank. I wish I'd have had my log burner then. And he were doing that, and Hazel were there, and she says, Mr. Chicken, you're going too far with this. Can we leave a tree? That's all I'm asking. I says, Hazel, if you want a tree, you pick out what wants a tree. And I'm not sure if they weren't a gate just a bit further. I can tell you when I see the tree. And we left this tree, and it stood no higher than about 4 foot. Everywhere where you couldn't see you couldn't see there'd been a tree. Everything was clear. We got bonfires. No wonder they didn't shut A5. And we cleared the whole bloody lot. And that tree now, you can't see the top of it. It's very ever so. And I keep reminding Hazel of that, you know.
Oh.
But what a weekend it were. I went back home and I nearly fell asleep driving because I was totally knackered. But everyone else were. You didn't need to chase people up.
No.
They'd come and they all, you know, bring some shears, bring a saw. You know, you couldn't hear out for chainsaws going, you know. Nobody had got a certificate. They didn't have certificate. Well, they did. Gordon Eden started that. And there were 6 people, and we went on this chainsaw course. Don't know how much it cost railway. And we went on it. And out of those 6 people, lad who did painting, Colin
Dainty.
Yeah. He had half a day, and he says, I'm not doing it. So he went off. And Graham... Ian, Ireland were on it. He had
Was
it.
he?
Well, he owned the bloody wood, didn't he? So he went on it because he could use it for cutting his wood down. But trouble is,
oh,
he did, yeah. But the trouble is, the bloke who were doing the course, he says, what you got in it? Don't ask me, because I only burn wood. But he says, oh, it's all so-and-so. Well, you can't burn that. That's no good. It's useless. so Ireland got his face on, and he didn't do too much. And I think they were only, I can't remember, whether they were, I were on it, and I'm use it. Oh, Graham, what's his name? Ian's father. He's died now. He died a long while ago.
Yeah.
And a right nice chap. He went on it, and Cutler, that were it. And
no.
Cutler were on this course.
Oh right.
Yeah, he were on this course, and we got passed out. We got a certificate, and I still have the certificate in my. I had a little wallet with all, this and other in. What, it's got my membership in and all that, and I saved that. But and only reason I saved change because it only lasted 5 years or something like that. But I was told by someone who knows, who works, I won't mention any names, but he works on the big railway. He says, doesn't matter if it's out of date, you've done the course, and that proves that you've done it. So if you chop somebody's arm off, it won't be as bad as what it were if you well, I don't, I think the only time I've done it is when we cleared Corwin.
Yeah.
And, and the pictures I've got in my big album of when we cleared Corwin, that site is unbelievable as to what it was,
Are you talking about the temporary station? Or
No,
the new one?
The temporary station, because when we started we wanted to do the station, but the board knew different, and the chairman did. I won't mention his name, you can guess who it were, and he said you can't do that until you finish the extension. The extension had gone halfway, if that, and we said no, we're not, we're going to build it anyway. Richard he was a brilliant person. I'm pleased because he was so good, and I said that to Lado, I said to you that he was so good. He was so good, and
he was absolutely brilliant, wasn't he?
And he said, let's just do it. And it took us a year and 1 week to lay 100 panels.
Ah.
And that was just working weekends.
Yeah.
Because I were only coming weekends, but well, I don't know whether they're down here or not in 90. No, I wouldn't be. But we just laid them at weekend. One weekend we laid 10 panels. Now that's not bad for a load of amateurs, is it?
Not bad at all.
Panels.
Now we did 10 panels. We were on the extension from D-side to Glyn.
Yeah.
And we just got a crane. Before that, we were manhandling everything.
The lorry did that, some of that, didn't the sleepers?
Oh yeah, the sleepers.
I can remember Billy
over the
Turnbull.
top of the cab.
Yeah.
That's why it's got a big dent in it.
Yeah. Well, Billy Turnbull because he was retired and he got pots of money, he used to come in week and get all the sleepers on and lay them out for you to lay them at the weekend.
That's right.
I do know that, yeah. Steve Stoll were in charge of that, weren't he?
He was, yeah.
Yeah, and John Stoll had a lot to do with Carrog, didn't he? He had a lot.
He
well,
did.
It was his station, weren't it? Cheshire Lines.
No, he did Llangollen Station.
Oh, sorry,
Carrog.
I meant
Quentin and Martin.
Yeah, I meant Glyn Station, and he were a director, John Stoll, and he was very forceful for what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
But he did a lot for the railway. He lived in the house at the back of where the signal box were, and he had the signal box at D-side.
That's right, it was his design.
That's right.
And that was another thumb in his nose at the board.
Yeah,
Because it's a Cheshire Lines Committee design.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, and he did the signal box, and he put just ordinary felt on the roof. And I says, that is disgusting. It should be slated. Well, we ain't got money. And yeah, they ain't got the money. But I was told by someone they were a gala, and I were on the train, and I walked past, and he was in the guardsman at the end of the train. And as I'm walking past, is John Stoll there? He's wanting you. He wants you to bloody tile the roof, put slates on the roof. And I said, well, he won't bleeding get me. And I run right to the other end of the train. I thought, I'm all right. I was right behind tender, and I was leaning out at window. And he come all the way up the train, and he tapped me on the shoulder, and I turned around. I thought, oh God. And he said to me, I've been trying to catch you, but I can't get hold of you. I says, well, I've been busy. And that was the last decent thing I said to him. And he said, well, I was going to ask you if you would put a proper slate roof on it. I said, well, you should have done that to start with, and that. And I really give him that, and I let fly at him, and I was using all language they were. And, do you know, he stood there, and he looked at me, and I can't, he says, I take it that means no. And, you know, I've always appreciated him after that, because, I mean, I did really have a go at him. But he did a lot for that.
Oh, he did?
And he did a lot, but he did it in his own way. And I can understand that, because, I mean, when you're dealing with Heritage Railways, it's very difficult. And
Oh, yeah,
especially
you need,
the people.
you
Because
need some very special people.
you do, yeah, you do.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I look back at it now and I think, well, that going from D-side to Glyn, it was his railway.
Oh, he
weren't it?
was. He
Yeah.
was.
And
yeah.
it wouldn't have got done. He kind of was on the board, and he got everything he wanted out the board.
Yeah.
You know, and
We ran out of rail.
yeah,
We got as far as the big bend at the end, coming round the right-hander towards the station throat, or the good, yeah. And we just ran out of rail, and it sat like that for months.
yeah.
No, nobody had any money.
No. Well, yeah. Well, he got to cut Carrog like that, didn't it? And then
Yeah.
yeah, and then you hadn't got anything, and it was coming into Carrog. But then after a while, it gained momentum.
Yeah, we got some from somewhere, didn't
Yeah.
we?
And
Yeah.
I've been doing a photograph album, like, well, as you well know, for Carrog. And I have a great difficulty because Carrog got done in between other jobs, you know, and I've been trying to date it, and I am struggling, and I'm struggling bad, and I will sort it out.
Yeah, give us
with
a
you,
ring. Give us a
because we can sit down and go back on the computer and find out the dates, and you know,
Yeah.
but Carrog went it did go well because it was done at weekends. Quinton was lodging with Christie. Christie were, well, I won't go down that road, but he was the one that got the signal box for Carrog.
Yeah.
But he was the one. He went to the people who got the job of demolishing it at where were it? I can't remember. It was just built in the war, and there was sidings there for an ammunition dump because it was in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, I didn't get involved in this one. I got made redundant when they were doing this.
Yeah, well, you know, these things happen, don't they?
They do.
And you get out of touch there. But, you know, he got it and he sorted this, and we got the signal box. And we had a marvellous weekend because it were all done at weekend. Dobbo's lorry, I took my wagon. Pete Evans, when he was normal, took his wagon, and we all worked at it. And I've got a film, well, you've seen the film, of taking the box to bits. And I mean, well, I won't mention what went off because, you know.
Pretty terrifying.
Yeah, it was. Even scares me now when I look at that, what went off there. But, you know, everyone just got together, and I can remember right at the Sunday afternoon, it were about 2 o'clock, and we'd been there all Saturday, all through the night we went down, we had a P-way trolley, and we went, because we had possession of the line from 12 o'clock Friday night, 12 o'clock, anyway, we started at, somebody from Network Rail came along and they was in charge, but he were very good. He let us, we'd half knocked the box down before the possession, you know. There were goods trains flying past and we got a corner with windows on coming out, and he said, just hold on lads, you know. He weren't, no, they can't do that, because I would have done, but he weren't, and he were very good. And we took that box and we went down Saturday night, we went down with this P-way trolley and we went about 1.5 miles down the line to the end of the possession. And because they were taking all the signal and stuff out, and we come back with a P-way trolley, and first thing we got on it, there were about 10 of us, I don't know how we got it on, but there were a bracket signal on it. We put a bracket signal and balanced it on this box, and everyone were going up there, and we're pulling all the rodding, the rods in. After to got a load of rodding in. I dread to think what on that P-way trolley, and we pushed it back up the hill, and it were all there. And Christie had done a deal with these people who we'd done the job, they hadn't done it, we just left part of the brickwork out, but the top had gone, the roof had gone, everything had gone. And we went through, there were a cornfield, and obviously BR had to pay to get access to it, because it were in the middle of nowhere, and we just got 2 tracks, and people like Dobbo were coming in with wagons and that. But 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon we were totally shocked, because we've been at it since 2 o'clock Friday afternoon all night, and everyone just sat down, and H put on a show. And H being H, you know, he'd come out with a fire extinguisher on his back, and he was, you know, it's dusty in there, you know. And we ain't got strength to laugh. We ain't got strength to laugh, honestly, people. And it was doing sub-edge. When we did sub-edge, everything went wrong. Every single thing went wrong doing sub-edge. And Quinton, to be fair, he did quite well, because he got, I should say there were about 15 who went on Friday. We all went down there on Friday, got there by Friday dinner time. I took my wagon, Evans took his wagon, and Harry Snott, who he was a guard. You probably know him. He had a lot to do with Standard. He looked after the money for Standard till Evans took over, and he were a Latin. He was a Latin teacher, and he had a place in Stratford. And we went down Friday, we spent Friday night and Saturday night, went out on the town, pissed as rats on Friday and Saturday night, and we took this down, and I don't know, you'd have to ask Quinton, but he bought Western Sub-Edge Station off the BR, because they still owned it. And it's on, I can't remember the line, it's Popular Line, it goes to, I can't remember the name.
It's got to be a Western Line.
It is a Western Line,
Yeah,
it's a big
yeah.
one. And that was there.
Severn Valley?
No, that was there big. It's very famous, and I can't remember. It goes to a race course.
Oh, Cheltenham.
Yeah, that's it.
That's right.
Well, it
Lost
was
to Warwickshire.
Yeah, well, that's it, and it was the other end, and we went on it, and I've got pictures of people. We were up taking all the roof. We dismantled everything. Dobbo's lorry made 2 journeys. No, he made 3 journeys. He had 2 journeys on Saturday, and he come back Sunday. Quinton and I had a digger, that had a burst Saturday afternoon, so that were out, and he come down with one of them three-legged cranes. And I don't know where he got it from, and it come down dry, and we were lifting pallets on, full of bricks, because there were three blokes on the back of, I think it might have been Evans's wagon, and we were just pouring bricks onto this wagon, and they were cleaning them up, hammer and chisel, cleaning them all up, banding them up, and putting them on, banding them up onto a pallet so they could go on the lorry. And they were lifting, and we got the very last pallet of bricks, and the bloody wire rope bust, and it flew off. And if it's killed someone, if it had hit them. So we buggered that up, and but it went great, but everything went wrong. Harry Snott brought his. He probably put about 4 people up in his house in Stratford. And he brought his caravan. There were me, H, Maxwell, and Evans. We went in caravan, and we spent Friday night, Saturday night in caravan. Saturday night, he took us back to his house, and Harry Snott had got fantastic layout of Stratford Station.
Really?
He had in his front room, and you know, I didn't agree with it, but I still joined in. But he's shown us it, and the train set run exactly to the timetable, and he were an exact bloke, and he was coming round and that, and he says, halfway up this bank you'll see a little siding. Well, that's where it sometimes got stuck, and they kept a banker in, and you stood all round this, and when you looked,
keep going.
the lad.
Challenge, yeah, you're recording.
So, go on. So then, John, what would you say your sort of your biggest challenge has been over the years?
I think putting the level crossing back at Glyn. I'm a bit short on the details, but I've got a feeling we had the clearance to close the road from 6 o'clock on the Saturday morning till 6 o'clock Sunday night. And in that time we had to rip the road up, and I think we went down 18 inches. Put the railway back in, put the new crossing in, and get the road open. And I've never seen such a gang in my life. There must have been 40, 50 of us. And the mess coach was parked up in the siding at the back, and Linda, Phil Pritchard's missus, and the girls were running it, and they fed everybody a full meal.
Yeah.
And I have no idea how they did it. I know what the conditions are like and everything. But it was fabulous. It was a full sit-down meal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they just did it.
Yeah.
And they kept us going.
Yeah.
And it was. I got a load of stuff out of ICI. They were scrapping some stuff. And they were also closing our site down, so all the plants were getting demolished. And I got Dobbo's trailer in, and we loaded it up with everything we could find, including a 48-foot length of, I think it must have been, what, half-inch, nearly 3/4-inch wall thickness, high pressure pipe. Mild steel pipe, 48 foot long, and we stuffed this on the back of his trailer. And Dobbo's wagon wasn't there; we had it propped up, and our riggers were just throwing everything on. And Dobbo come back to look at it. Oh bloody hell! He says, "I'm not sure about this thing was sticking out the end, you know." He says, "I'm not sure about. I don't know what we do." he said theoretically at 48 foot it's actually in the regs, but bloody hell, look at the length of it. So, oh well, let's just stick some high-vis vests on the end of it. So we had about 3 orange high-vis vests tied round the end of it. And he drove it back into and it was piled high.
Yeah.
Absolute, all sorts of stuff. There was a crane. It was a very strange crane. It was one you could push around. It was like on casters.
Oh.
And it stood upright like that with a long curved top on it. And the crane, he said. And I looked at it, and the lad said, "Do you want it?" And I said, "Yeah, well, I want everything. Throw it out." So this thing was on the top. And Dobbo looked at it. How the hell do I strap that lot on? Anyway, he did. He got it, and he took it down, and Dave Owen unloaded it. But that big pipe ended up at Glyn. And that pipe is under the road where the signal box is to carry all the cables and everything else that needs to go under the road. And being 12 inches diameter, it's plenty big enough for anything you want to stuff down it, so we don't have to dig the road up again.
That's right.
Anyway, we put this thing, we got it in. It was a big job, and we got it finished, and we got the road open, and we got it done on time, and we really felt good about ourselves. I'm just trying to find the photograph. There's a very good photograph of the whole gang lined up.
Yeah.
You've seen it, haven't you?
I've seen that,
We went through trying to identify everybody on it, yeah.
And building level crossings, of course, is something that you're absolutely never going to be able to do these days.
Oh no.
So we know that the Cambrian Railway have got they've got to cross a road twice if they want to join up their line. So was that a concern going into that job, or did you reckon you got under the barrier on that? Because these days they're very, very tight on level crossings.
Well, we're talking 1991, I think it was, where we did that. So I think things were a lot slacker in those days. You didn't. There weren't the regulations. You got the road closure approval from the council. That was all that was really needed. And as long as you put the road back to their satisfaction. Now the thing about that level crossing is that the rail height is higher than the original rail height. And we weren't allowed to go backwards and cut the road out to put a better slope in. So if you look, the train comes over a hump with the level crossing it. And the crossing itself is prefabricated concrete pieces and rubber mounted. I've no idea where John Stowell got it from, but it was one that was lifted, and he got the whole lot.
Certainly lifted.
And in the early days, if you looked at it, we shoved it back as fast as we could, and we couldn't sort out which bits of yellow line went where. So when we first put it back, there were bits of yellow line all over it.
But they had a trouble with track, didn't they? I'm only told because I weren't to. What was the old boy who was in charge of the track?
Gordon Corbin.
That's it, yeah. And he got it up on jacks, it were all stuck up on blocks and that, and they filled it in later. But he was a nice old boy, not a lot of people liked him though, did they?
No, he had a funny way about him. If you got on with him, fine. He was great.
Yeah,
I had no trouble with him at all.
No, I didn't.
No, he said he was ex-army, and he'd been out in the Middle East looking after the railways. That's that's where he did his training, you might say.
Yeah.
And he certainly knew what he was doing I've got a picture of the rebuilding the shed that we got from Northwich that is now the station building at Glyn.
Oh yeah.
And I've got a picture of that and the rails in front. And if you look, there's a gauge, for want of a better way of describing it, made up of scrap bits of wood, so that there's a level at the top of the platform and then a vertical bit and a level at the top of the rails, and it's braced. And that was Gordon Corbin. He made that up so that we got the rail height right all the way down the existing platform, so we didn't have to modify the platform later. So that was worth doing.
Yeah.
And once we got the level crossing in, it was connected up to the running rails on the east side in front of the signal box, but we didn't actually lay rails in the platform for quite a while because we needed to get the JCB up and down to build the platform and put the platform surfaces on, because it was only the down platform that was done in the early days. It was the up platform. I think we built the retaining wall on top of the exposed original retaining wall. We built it on top of the set, so we didn't have to set the lines up or anything for the curve, and we left it so we could get the station open and running. And then the other platform was done as and when later. And then we put the footbridge on. And that footbridge was actually a real asset to the railway, because the number of people who stood on it taking pictures. And there are some fabulous, I've got some fabulous pictures taken from the top and a lot of videos. And unfortunately it's gone.
What became of it?
Well, the problem was that there was rot in the, there was an angle holding the bridge deck in, particularly the piece that went across the rail. And one day one of the planks fell out. And suddenly we realised that the rot was really bad and the thing was unsafe, so it got closed. And there was an attempt to get it repaired. The first company they went to, it was they wanted £1 million to build a new one. I think they didn't want the job. And they went round and there were 100,000 quid to repair it and things like this. It was just not possible. So Andy Max got involved and he put the lowest price in to repair that job, but it was still too much. So they got rid of it. And it is now, I believe.
I don't think it's going to be scrapped.
It's not. It's an original Great Western from Welshpool. It's the old bridge that went across the tracks at Welshpool Station, and it's been repaired, or well, yes, I think by now it will have been repaired, and as far as I know, it should have been put up over somebody else's railway, so it is still in use. Yeah, but it would really be really nice to have a bridge on there.
Well, it looks like a railway station then, doesn't it? Although Glyn does look.
I mean, I know the number of customers that have said to me since how much they miss it, because it was a fabulous viewpoint.
Yeah, but they've only got half a view now, haven't they? Because of the balcony that's been put in front. You can take photos. When the platform is full, you can take photos above the head, can't you?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I used to look after the gardens on the west side of the station building, and we were planning to build a viewpoint in. I can't remember. I think there were the 5 lampposts along that platform.
I don't know.
Anyways, the middle one. Behind the middle one, we're going to put a V-piece in at the level of the embankment at the back.
Yeah.
So you could walk forward. The lamppost is alongside you, so it didn't get in your way, and you could shoot pictures that way or that way. And we were going. I got hold of the quarries at Dinorwick, and I said, "Can we have some stone?" You know, and they said, "Yeah. What colour do you want?" And all we had to do was transport it, but it never happened.
No.
Unfortunately, never got to it.
One thing that we've got Bob Gwynn working on at the moment is a refurbishment of what was Barmouth South signal box.
Good. That needed doing.
So that's we're working on planning permission at the moment, turning it into a sort of combination bird hide, nature viewing platform, and also a show box. So we get a frame in there, and we get like a mock-up of a diagram, and we use it to do demos and things of
Good idea. They had something like that at York. If you went up on the balcony at the back end of York Museum, you could walk through, and there was a viewing room over the main line behind, and they had repeater screens from the signal box, so you could actually see where the trains were. That was really good.
Yeah, it's an important use of that asset. Okay, so what we'll do then is get on to the last question.
Yeah.
John M, what would you say you are most proud of as you look at the railway these days?
Well, that's obvious, isn't it? Yeah, that's obvious. No, I'm proud. Well, no, I will say I am proud of all the people that worked on Corwin.
Yeah.
That's what I'm proud of.
It's the same
To
right
do
down.
a job for 11 years and never, and I repeat, never had an argument that lasted longer than a day.
That's
Nobody
that's
went
really
away
good.
from there, and that's who I'm proud of, and that's what the station, they built the station. Not me, probably my idea, but they built the station, and I'm proud of that, and I really am.
Yeah.
I will just say one, and it's not a bad point, but when we were probably halfway through, Phil was still alive, and me, Richard and Phil sat down and we said, we want something to mark this, and we come up with having a big piece of slate, and we said, we think that's a good idea because we can put people down, and that was done in all good tensions, but it caused more arguments. It did, and I learnt by that. I'd never do it again. And somebody came along after we announced it and said, "That'll be trouble." How can it be trouble? You know, but it was trouble. But it's done and it's there. But no, that's the most thing I am proud of, is all the chaps that work tirelessly. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
We had a similar thing when we were building from Berwyn to Deeside, or we built backwards from Deeside to Berwyn. So the reason for that was that we could get the trucks and the road equipment and all the materials through the tunnel on road vehicles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we had the same thing. We had Dobbo as the ganger.
Yeah.
And we just got stuck in.
Yeah.
And on the last weekend, when we were building down to the tunnel, I've never seen rain like it. It's coming down in stair rods. We We were like drowned rats, but nobody stopped working.
Yeah.
And we got the rails, they got the railhead to the tunnel entrance because we knew the next weekend we could work in the dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've got that good set of photos of Deeside Holt coming together and the building from the Festiniog and
Oh yeah.
taking that through the tunnel. It was quite
An interesting exercise, yes.
Yeah. I suppose really, but I shouldn't mention it. The tunnel were my worst experience on the railway.
Oh well, yes, it would be.
It was.
It was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Well, that
And
was that was when the railway was actually working.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, I know exactly what went wrong when the crane came off. I know exactly, and I got blamed for it. And I don't mind. I was gone. I was going elsewhere, but I got talked out of it. And the people that taught me out of it said, well, that's totally wrong, and they reviewed it, and I was totally exonerated.
Very good.
So, but that was my worst. What were your worst? That were my worst on the railway.
I don't think I actually had a worst. I mean, there were ups and downs, but I don't think I actually had a worst.
But you might have felt it at the time.
Yeah. I mean, it was nearly 40 years is a long time.
Yeah.
Trying to remember.
You have a bit more patience than me, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right then. So, looking forward then, what do you think? What do you think the next sort of 5 to 10 to 50 years looks like at Llangollen?
Right, well, I think one of the things we were not good at was integrating with the local community. And I think it's the same now. The timetable doesn't allow for more than one journey up and down the line to be broken for any length of time. And I think you need to start looking at the timetable in terms of a transport system, not just a tourist railway. And to do that, there should be a sweeper in. So you run your normal timetable and you put a DMU on early and late, which allows people to go down from one end into town and spend the day in town and get back to the car at the other end, and vice versa.
Well, we at Corwin thought that was what they were aiming for.
Yeah.
That's the impression. I mean, you can't build a station and think about things like that. It's other people's job. But we was definitely under the impression that's what was aimed for.
Yeah.
And that had something to do with the siding we put in.
Yeah.
In fact, I've always got grand visions or something, but you know, this. Although now Evan's gone, shouldn't mention his name, should I? But now he's gone. But then there was a lot of animosity from people, and my idea was we've got the siding in. We'll put a 2-road shed, and the DMUs can go up there out of the way.
Yeah.
Because Pentrafelling, when we started doing Pentrafelling, it was always going to be for the railway. The DMUs, yes, they are even more now. It's changed now. DMUs are part of the railway, whereas when we started doing that shed,
Steam only.
it was steam only, you know, and the DMUs were, and Evan didn't tell that. But, well, he didn't, but...
He didn't, you're right.
No, he didn't. He went, I think I've got no patience. He got 10 times worse, and he got a bigger gob than me at the time. But
what he did do, I tell you what,
He did things
he
right.
run a tight ship.
yeah, he did. But
And-
the shed
and
was
he-
never built for them.
He got a department that was expanding in terms of numbers when every other one was
Oh
reducing.
yeah, that's true. That's very true. You're dead right there.
Mm.
Yeah. But we don't see him much on this railway now.
No.
But I definitely think
I was seriously considering swapping over to the DMUs. You know, before I became too ill to do anything.
it's a totally different situation now, isn't it? Totally different, yeah.
I'd like to see that shed extended.
It's built to do it, can get extended both sides. That's what we've planned.
I'm thinking lengthwise.
Well, one of the chaps who has the motor museum, I don't think you get planning.
No, not backwards, forwards.
All right,
Front of the shed,
yeah.
put another coach length on with just a roof.
Yeah,
And that allows you to work in the dry.
good thinking.
We understand that there's a serious money involved in
Yeah, it is serious.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just do it off the top of your head like in the
Like
old
we
days.
did. Yeah, well, he come from Bob Austin. Bob Austin said to me, "They've got a good shed. Do you want it up
Yeah.
here?"
I tell
I
you
said,
what,
bloody hell, Bob. And within 3 weeks, 4 weeks, shed were here.
the best
you know.
engine shed we could have had was up on this Spencer's Yard up here,
Yeah.
just on the tip up there. And he built this shed, it was a fabulous building. And he put it all up, and it was 2 bays, pitch roof bays, side by side, with crane tracks in, and high enough,
Mm.
and everything else. And I can't remember how many bays it was, but it was significant.
Yeah.
And he hadn't got any planning permission to put it up. So he was told to take it down again. And I thought, engine shed, straight
Yeah,
away.
you would.
This was before anything was built. And when I got up there, he cut it up into 2 foot lengths because he got cross.
Oh dear. Yeah. These things, I can remember coming, when we come down A5 and we turned off, and I went wrong, which is normal for me, and I went past this quarry and there were a shed there and all they got were a massive great digger in it. And I looked at that and this chap walked over to me, he says, "Are you come to see about buying this?" He says,
Blimey.
"No, I said, no, I was just stopping I'd seen it, and I says, we could do with this on our railway." "Oh, it weren't you that rang me?" I said, "No." He says, "Well, we don't want it here. We've been told to move it." I said, "And the chap is coming to see me, and he's coming today. But I don't know whether he wants it." So I left him with my phone number, and he actually did ring me, and he says, "The chap's coming.
It's gone.
It's
Yeah.
gone." And
Yeah,
it was
there's
a
a-
bloody
there's a-
good shed.
There's a good market
Yeah.
in shit in portal frame buildings.
Yeah, there is.
I mean, I had a contact.